1,000 homes under evacuation orders as the Rice Ridge fire creeps closer to Seeley Lake.
Wildfire smoke cuts the season short for a popular lodge in Glacier National Park.
And the governor expected to ask agencies to cut another 10% from their budgets.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg. 1,000 homes in the Seeley Lake area now under that evacuation order that we first told you about last night because of the Rice Ridge fire. Emergency
officials told residents that they need to be on alert and ready to go. There are about 1,090 homes and buildings threatened by the fire. 1,000 are under mandatory evacuation. Those extend from Highway 83 and Cedar Lane northeast to Morrill Creek, including Cottonwood Lakes Road, and south to Double Arrow.
The evacuation order also includes the east side of Seeley Lake into the foothills and south to the junction with Double Arrow Road, including the subdivision to the south and east.
Areas under evacuation warning include the area from the South Boy Scout Road north to Tamaracks Resort, west of Highway 83 and east of the lake. Also under warnings include all properties from the intersection of Woodworth Road and Highway 83 east of Salmon Lake. Now, evacuations are a trying time for anyone. While wondering whether or not your home will still be standing in the coming days, a lot of people are not that eager to talk about their ordeal on camera.
But MTN's Eric Clemens spoke with one Seeley Lake man whose family was evacuated last night. He shares his story and urges everyone living near wildfire to be prepared for the worst.
The Missoula County Sheriff's Department has opened an information center for evacuees of the Rice Ridge fire. It's in the parking lot of Corey's Valley Market to the south of Seeley Lake and is open between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Dennis Ralston is just one of the people displaced by the Rice Ridge fire. He says he and his wife weren't expecting to have to evacuate their home, but they were still prepared.
Had vehicles parked and ready, packed and ready to leave.
In fact, by the time Missoula County Sheriff's deputies arrived to his home, they had already left.
We left as soon as we heard the announcement. I got it by Gmail and also Smart 911.
Ralston says he and his wife had put together a list of things they needed to save by prioritizing. Essentials, like clothing and heirlooms, were at the top of the list.
For instance, my wife's quilts that she makes are very valuable to her. That she started packing those things into the vehicle in order to get those out and be safe.
Ralston and his wife are safe and are staying with friends who live south of Seeley.
We'll be spending the next few nights, I'm sure, with him.
He says that of course he doesn't want to lose his home and extends his deepest thanks to the men and women fighting to protect it and so many others.
We're all very appreciative of what they're all doing. You know, they're working under really, terrible circumstances with weather changing and we really appreciate it.
Those living in and around Seeley Lake are encouraged to sign up for Smart 911 services. That'll inform residents of what their current evacuation status is. In Seeley Lake, Eric Clemens, MTN News.
And as the conditions continue to deteriorate with the Rice Ridge fire, crews are confident they can get a handle on the blaze before any structures are lost.
MTN's Dawn Fisher shows us the plan for the rest of the week.
So firefighters are in this area with some equipment. They're working on flanking it.
Fire Information Officer Aaron Fryer joins about 600 other crew members from John Thompson's incident management team who took over the fight against the Rice Ridge fire near Seeley Lake last week. An already exhausting fire season took its latest dangerous turn while crews were attempting to burn control lines Monday. Winds were initially carrying the fire as planned, but suddenly shifted, forcing the fire south towards many already threatened structures. Fryer says this prompted a quick but necessary evacuation.
It was sudden and unexpected, and we felt like it was best to make the call early so that we could get people out in an orderly fashion than waiting until the fire was too close.
And despite the hasty turn of events, Fryer says crews did have success fighting the fire since arriving on scene, and they hope to build on that momentum.
Certainly that activity has picked up, but the firefighters have also made some great strides in the last week. And we've been able to increase our containment lines as well. So we really taken opportunities and made the most of them and actually tried to be as efficient as possible with the firefighters that we had on the fire.
And Fryer says there likely won't be any breaks for firefighters anytime soon as weather conditions are continuing to be unfavorable throughout the rest of the week.
But the reality is that we need to know and have a better idea of what the fire is doing and get some of the lines in. We want to make sure that we don't bring people back into the area too early and then have to do this all over again. But we certainly don't want to keep people out any longer than possible.
In Seeley Lake, Don Fisher, MTN News.
And Seeley Swan High School students won't be hitting the books until next Tuesday. Missoula County Public Schools canceled classes today because the school is in the middle of the evacuation zone for Rice Ridge. MCPS spokeswoman Hatton Littman says the classes will be canceled tomorrow and Thursday as well. The school was already set to be closed Friday and Monday for the Labor Day weekend. Littman says the district will follow up with more information for students and families during the weekend if there's alternative locations for the school or if they decide to reopen it pending direction from the Missoula County Sheriff's Office. The Rice Ridge fire also forced officials to close down the post office in Seeley. Postal customers will need now to travel to the Milltown post office on Montana Highway 200 to get their mail. Customers should be also bringing along their photo ID when picking up the mail. The Milltown post office open weekdays from 8 to 11:30 and the afternoons from 12:30 to 4:30. Future delivery decision will be made after consulting with local emergency managers. And critical fire danger expected this week with storms and more hot, dry weather in the forecast. Here's Aaron Yost with an update. Aaron?
Yeah, today was just a taste of kind of what's to come tomorrow, and then we've got some wind expected on Thursday, so kind of a 1-2 punch. Most of us seeing this once again today. Poor air quality, very hazy, smoky skies. This was downtown Hamilton, our First Security Bank ICAM. We did get a couple of thunderstorms here and there. A lot of that activity will ramp up though by tomorrow afternoon as that next cold front approaches. So there's the one in the 1-2 punch. Up next will be on Thursday. Post-frontal winds will keep things very breezy. So we are looking at critical fire danger here over the next couple of days. Got a forecast update coming up shortly.
Meanwhile, in the Bitterroot, Ravalli County Sheriff Steve Holton orders of mandatory evacuations for 65 homes near the Nelson fire. This is the one burning south of Darby there on the east of the West Fork. Residents on Nez Perce Road are now under an evacuation order, including people living on Lapwai and Fox Lanes in Bear Hollow Court. That blaze has burned about 80 acres and was very active on Monday.
One of Glacier National Park's most iconic and popular lodges is closing up for the season early because of wildfire smoke. Centerra Parks and Resorts making that announcement tonight. It says Lake McDonald Lodge is suffocating from smoke from the 1,500-acre Sprague fire. The fire is not and has not been any immediate threat to the Lake McDonald area, but concentrated smoke from the fire has been settling near the lodge, and that has prompted health concerns for both employees and people staying there. The lodge will be closing for the season tomorrow. Those who had reservations for Lake McDonald Lodge need to contact Glacier National Park Lodges through the website on your screen or call that phone number.
Burnout boxes, strategic retardant drops, lots of fire lines, and an eye on the weather. Those are all the tools fire managers are using as they try and keep the Lolo Peak fire from making another run in the critical fire weather expected this week. Over the past month, the Lolo Peak fire has gotten a reputation with its volcanic-like bursts of smoke, flame, and ash. Perfectly positioned to be fanned by the incoming weather moving into west central Montana, the fire keeps flaring up. That was true again Monday when it hit the highest level on the Haynes Index, which helps track fire behavior.
That's that unstable air mass, that chimney effect. Like if you had put a fire in your fireplace and you opened up the flue all the way, all that heat was going straight up.
Firefighters are trying to counter the low humidity, high temps, dry thunderstorms, and gusty winds with more burnout operations, stretching south from One Horse Creek, where the fire wants to cross the canyon and move into Sweeney Creek.
The main thing is trying to pretty much build a bunch of links, just like links in a chain, of burnout units from the mouth of One Horse Creek all the way down to the old fire scar from, I think it's 2009 in the Kootenai Creek fire. So we're trying to be strategic, get ahead of the game, so we don't have to worry about what happens if it gets a run on us and we don't have anything prepared to catch that thing.
While all the early evacuees are back in their homes and trying to get their lives back together, authorities have mapped out additional evacuation zones in case the fire gets active again on the south.
We have all those evacuation zones identified. We've identified some more of them south of Florence, some additional ones. Those are not yet in any type of warning or evacuation order, but we know where they're at and we're ready to go if we have to pull the trigger.
After a hectic couple of weeks, Greg Ponson's Type 1 team is turning over management of this fire to a new Type 1 team, which will take over and meet the challenges of the weather coming up over the next couple of days. The new team, headed by veteran leader Doug Turman, is no stranger to the Bitterroot, having battled some of the largest fires here for more than a decade.
So those folks been down the Bitterroot before. They've been here. They know the country. They know the fire departments and the sheriff's departments just like us. So that's probably the best case scenario for a team in the country that could take over from us.
On the latest maps, the Lolo Peak fire as of tonight has burned 39,000 acres, is 31% contained, and is likely the most expensive fire in Montana's history at more than $32 million and climbing.
The Myers fire burning near Phillipsburg exploded, prompting new evacuation warnings in southeast Ravalli County. 225 homes are under an evacuation warning tonight. That warning impacts folks in the East Fork area from Forest Service Road 5778 Teepee Creek to Forest Service Road number 724 Little East Fork. That fire has burned more than 5,000 new acres yesterday alone. The fire is more than 22,300 acres total and is 5% contained. Of course, we'll continue to track all fire information on air and online with our Facebook and Twitter feeds and the KPAX mobile app that you can download for free. Well, next on KPAX, Aaron has more details about the gusty winds on the way and the potential for thunderstorms tomorrow. Plus, when Hurricane Harvey came, one couple's baby refused to wait out the storm. Their story next, and there's a Montana connection.
And later, a look at some of the unique challenges doctors in Montana face when it comes to treating